Hey y'all, it's Bailey. Welcome back to the channel for what's going to be a What's New at the Drugstore part 1 of I don't even know how many. To be honest, I've been, collectively picking stuff up each and every time I go to the drugstore, see something new, but brands are launching a heck of a lot lately. So I've slowly been picking things up. If you've been with me for a while, you know the way I like to do hauls is less showing products and just kind of talking about what I think I'll think of them, but actually trying them and demonstrating them for you here in the video and then letting you know my thoughts after having tried them for a couple of days here already. So I've started that process with the products that I'm going to talk about in this video, but literally today I just had some products that I ordered from Wet n Wild come in. Some of their new foundation, the concealer, a couple of, I don't even remember what I ordered from them because the shipping was kind of long for them. And then e.l.f. sent me some of their new products, the Mad for Matte 2, some of their new facial highlighters. They have like a jelly lip stain, and so I think I'm going to put that even in another separate video because the e.l.f. products alone could make their own video. So who knows how many videos this will turn into, but basically there's a lot of new stuff out there and I'm trying to get through it as fast as I can. So with that, we got a lot of stuff to get through. Let's go ahead and dive in. First, let's start with the foundation. I finally picked up the L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover Foundation. Mine is in the shade 303 Nude Beige, and I ordered mine along with a lot of the products that I'm talking about here from Ulta because I found that they had the most comprehensive selection of shades in stock. As a result, though, I wasn't really able to get a good idea for a shade match. Surprisingly, this actually nailed it pretty well for me. I'm a little washed out right now. I'm filming at night, and just for those of you who don't know, that typically means my lighting's a little washed out. I'm looking a little funky, like got some orange contour against some fairer or pale skin. It's a camera thing and a lighting thing, but in the daylight, which is when you'll see these demos, it looks a little bit more balanced and I think a little more true to color. So hopefully that gives you an indication of the way this looks and wears on my skin, but 303, pretty good match for me. So this guy, I love how L'Oreal has started putting these kind of wear or coverage guides on the back so you can kind of compare across foundations. If you're not sure which one you want to get of those that exist in their collection, you can look on the back and see, do you want a demi-matte natural radiant finish? This is supposed to be a natural finish. In the wear category, it's up to 24 hours. I feel like all of them make that claim. Who is wearing their foundation for 20? I mean, no judgment. I suppose there are times and places you're pulling all night or studying or working or going out and having fun with friends. No judgment, but I personally don't think I would ever wear foundation for 24 hours. Then again, never say never. The coverage is supposed to be high. They have low, medium, and high. This is a high coverage foundation, and the texture says Air Light. I have to agree with them on all except for the coverage. I would say this is medium high. It's just certainly not full coverage. It definitely left a little bit of discoloration in my under eye area. To me, the gold standard for full coverage is like Kat Von D's Lock-It foundation or Estee Lauder's Double Wear, which really, when I put it on, it is like a mask, almost too masky for me. Like, I like my foundation to have a natural second skin sort of look, and as a result I don't like ultra full coverage all the time, but when I do, those are what I'm after because it literally paints a fresh, clean, bare canvas. I would not say this gets up to that level of coverage, but I do think it has good coverage. It's buildable coverage, so you start medium, you could add a little bit more without it getting cakey or looking too overdone on your skin, but I would say it's on par with their existing infallible foundations as far as coverage goes. Maybe a little bit more than the Radiant, since for me it took quite a bit of building for that to become full coverage. But yeah, that's the one thing I would say is it's not maximum coverage. Still, I love the finish. It's not ultra matte, it's not satin, it's true to its natural claim, and the wear time is really, really good. Super pleased to say, or super happy that this lasted as long as it did on my combo skin. Then again, we are here in winter where I am not as prone to excess oil as I typically would be in like the warmer months, spring, summer, you know how it goes. So as much as I want to chalk it up to the quality of the foundation, I do want to keep testing this obviously into the spring and summer months just to really make sure I can say it really stands up to the test of combination skin. On the other side of the coin, it doesn't dry my skin out, so it doesn't lend itself to that excess oil, but it also doesn't cling to any dry patches I might have around my jaw, where in the cooler winter months I tend to get a little patchy cheeks, jaw, that kind of situation around my nose as I'm like constantly blowing my runny nose. Did not cling to those patches at all, just overall it laid really smoothly and evenly, and it stayed that way until I was ready to take it off at the end of the day. So really, really pleased with that. It's actually making me want to do like a top drugstore foundations video because between this and the Wet n Wild, which I have really high hopes for, I think I have enough, and the Physicians Formula that I really like, I think I have enough in my arsenal to have kind of a nice selection for those who are wanting something with, say, dewy coverage for combo skin, matte coverage for combo skin, natural finish, things like that. So let me know if you want to see that, because I think I'm collecting enough to do that. But overall, would recommend. Next, I picked up a concealer. This is Milani's new Retouch and Erase Light Lifting Concealer in the shade Light. It's one of 5 shades, so there is one lighter, because this has a number 2 in the back, and then 3 deeper than this. And it comes with this sponge tip applicator. The directions on the packaging say that you're supposed to apply directly and then blend in with a sponge. I've tried it multiple different ways, blending with a sponge, blending with my finger, blending with a separate blending tool, and I have always found my fingers working best to help this blend and really, you know, melt into the skin for a super natural finish. The one thing with this is, though, there's no amount of layering that will make it completely full coverage. I still notice, even over the L'Oreal foundation, that some discoloration will shine through in my under eye area. I have particularly prominent discoloration right here in my inner corner where it's like greeny blue. This has a touch of yellow in it, so I thought it might counteract the blue, but I still see those bluey green tones shining through. So it doesn't have as much coverage as I prefer, but if you're looking for lighter coverage around the rest of your face, if you just have, you know, slight discoloration, blemishes, things like that, and you want something that has a super light texture, it's not going to cake up, sink into fine lines, and you don't mind that it's not ultra full coverage, this would be a good option. If you do want full coverage, though, I have really been loving the Physicians Formula Insta Ready Concealer. I have a whole haul and review of the products that I picked up from their spring launches, so if you want to learn more about that, I'll link it below. But this is my new baseline for full coverage concealer from the drugstore. Super awesome formula, and so because it's so fresh in my mind, I just know that this Milani is not full coverage for me. Next up is a face palette I picked up from Essence. This is the Shape Your Face Contouring Palette. This is the Ready Set Peach shade selection. There is another one with more of a pinky or berry tone inside, and basically, you know, like a classic contour palette, you get a matte contour shade, a highlight shade, and a blush shade, but I was surprised that the highlight shade is matte. So it's definitely one of those that you use to visually lighten up the product that you place in your under eye area or at the tops of your cheekbones, as opposed to illuminating it. There's no pearlescence, there's no shimmer, nothing that will make light bounce off of your face. It literally changes the color of the product you are applying it over top of, which can be really nice if you find that this contour shade is a little bit too deep for you. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but it just seemed to go with what we're talking about. Let's go ahead and talk about it anyway. So basically, the matte contour shade here is really nice, very buildable. I am certainly not at my deepest skin tone. It's middle of winter, and so I'm definitely on the paler side. I thought this would be a little bit too warm, a little bit too deep, but it's nice and layerable. I can apply a little bit for a very natural daytime looking contour, or really build it up for some chiseled cheeks. And then, like I said before, if I find it's a little bit too much, I've applied too much, I want to mix it ahead of time, I like to mix the two of these together to bronze all over my face for a really gentle looking, where I don't really have to worry about overdoing it on the bronzer. Alternatively, you could use it as intended and apply it to the tops of your cheekbones to make it appear lighter. And then just when I thought this palette wasn't going to have a shimmery highlight, it's actually built into your blush here. So this comes with a peach blush naturally, as a palette called Ready Set Peach. Peach blush with a gold undertone or a gold highlight vein. I'm not sure what to call it. It's a shimmery peach blush, and the shimmer in it is gold. It's really, really beautiful, but I will say it is probably the least pigmented thing in this palette. It looks really peach in the pan, but then once you go and swatch it, the gold really comes out, and so it is definitely equal parts blush and highlight, I would say. That being said, if you're not big on super bold cheeks, I think this is a safe way to play it, because it's easy to pile it on and really see results after a slow build, as opposed to accidentally putting too much on and then thinking you look like a baby doll and then try and remove it with, like, you know, this white or cream shade here. It's just nice and buildable, but just something you might want to be aware of. It is super duper shimmery. On to some eye products. I have a few to talk about here. Surprise, not, no one is surprised. The first of which are some cream shadows, which I am an absolute sucker for. These are the Revlon Color Stay cream shadows, and I picked up 3 shades. Number 710, or where is the, really? These don't have shades? What in the world? Bummer! I love a good creative shade. Really, guys? There's no shade? Maybe there's some online. I don't even know. Huh, go figure. Okay, well, anywho, I have 710, which is this, kind of reminds me of Indian Wood from MAC, but it is not quite as pigmented, it's not quite as warm, but if you're looking for a shimmery, kind of lighter, frostier copper, this is a good one to reach for. Then there is 730, which is a frosty pink. This guy, after looking through the cream shadows that I have, like I said, I'm obsessed, I have quite a few, and these are also very similar to the Maybelline Color Tattoos. So I wanted to make sure there weren't any dupes among those. But I found, interestingly enough, that is most similar to a Smashbox cream shadow. The Color Tattoo I compared it against was one of the metal, the inked in pink. This is way pinker than the Revlon. But, like I said, surprisingly, the Smashbox Limitless 15-Hour Wear cream shadow in the shade Quartz is very, very close. More metallic, though, and pretty clearly more metallic, whereas the Revlon is a little bit more frosty, but as far as color goes, very, very similar. And last is the shade that I'm wearing right now. It's 735, which is kind of a soft frosted khaki. I was a little underwhelmed by this color payoff. I thought it looked a little bit deeper, bolder in the pot, but the frostiness definitely came through, and I think it translated onto the lids. It kind of looks metallic, a little dimensional. Actually, I'm not wearing this alone. I'm wearing this on the bulk of my eyelid, and then I worked a little bit of that bronzy shade. Which one is it? This guy, 710, into my outer corner. So it's not all of that khaki green, but a good portion of it is this. And like I said, I was just a little underwhelmed by the color payoff. I definitely recommend using either the brush that comes inside the cap, which I thought was pretty innovative, to be honest. It's this dinky looking brush, but this is one of the things I used right off the bat to apply it, just to see if it, you know, did a decent job. And I have to say, it's probably one of the better tools that I've used for packing on pigment, because when I use my finger, it just diffuses the color too much, and all I get is more so shimmer and a metallic finish rather than that color payoff. So definitely use either this or a larger flat shader brush that you might use to really pack on powder color across your lid to maximize the color payoff with these. As far as wear goes, like I said, I'm filming this at night. I applied this guy at 7:30, 8 a.m. this morning, and it is now 8:10 p.m. at night. So I would say it lasted pretty well. I have not touched it, no touch-ups, no nothing. It's crease-free, it's fade-free, and so I am pretty impressed with the wear, and I didn't even put a primer on underneath. I didn't set it with shadow, nothing. These are a pretty fantastic formula, but I would like to try a few more shades before weighing in on the color payoff quality, just because I feel like I picked some lighter skewing shades. They had some deeper, you know, grays and blacks and a deep matte chocolatey brown kind of shade. And so before I completely write these off as being soft washes of color across the lid, I'd want to try those. But just so you know, I found this khaki green to just under-deliver slightly in the pigmented department. The other thing I picked up for the eyes are some powder shadows. These are the new Maybelline Single Expert Wear shadows. This is Khaki Camo, which is where I got that weird mispronunciation before. Khaki Camo, the Glow Down, beautiful gold, Teal the Deal, this vibrant teal, Raw Ruby, which you can't really see from the exterior packaging, but hopefully the swatches will show, is kind of like a blackened garnet color. And then this last one, I mean, come on, this is in the shade Acid Rain. And I got these couple reasons. One, I'm a sucker for bold shadows, but two, I actually saw Melissa Alatorre, I'm not sure how you pronounce her last name, but she's a YouTuber here. If you haven't heard of her, definitely go check her out. She makes amazing tutorials, videos, period. Just definitely go check her out. But I saw her, I think this was a shade she used, this or a very similar color as both an eyeshadow and a facial highlighter, and I was so stinking impressed with the pigment. So once I saw her use that, I knew I had to get in on this action, and I picked up 5 shades because moderation is not in my vocabulary. So here are the shades that I got. I'm super impressed with the texture texture, the pigmentation, the color payoff. I shared a picture of wearing a couple of these on my lids on Instagram, and I'm just so impressed with the color payoff and the way they blend, and wore through the day, obviously over a primer, fade-free, crease-free, which might speak more to the quality of the primer, but not all shadows can do that. So I do think it's saying something, and definitely good if you're looking for some high-quality drugstore shadows and like you have go-to shades. Like these two are my comfort zone, a khaki and a gold. I could wear these all day, every day for the rest of my life. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. If I had to choose, this would probably be my wheelhouse right here. And if that's you, I think these are a great little investment. I mean, actually a steal from the drugstore, because you get a ton of product at drugstore prices. Last up here, guys, are lip products. These were actually sent to me by the brand. They are the L'Oreal Infallible Lip Paints, and I have 5 shades to talk about here, 2 of which I'm wearing and one of which I've shared in an Instagram photo a couple days ago. This is cheeky, 310 Taupeless, very cute. And then the 2 that I'm wearing right now is a combination of 304 Bewitching, this deep dark plum, and lilac, because it was a little bit too deep. I wanted to see if I could do a gradient. Eventually they blurred into each other. It's what, then you get what you see here today. The other 2 shades I have are Fearless Fuchsia, which pretty self-explanatory, and then there is Navy Spy, and I love that they came out with these super fun colors. Basically, these are a combination between a lip gloss and a lipstick, a lip lacquer type finish, very similar, in fact, to the new Makeup Forever Artist Acrylips. These are a little bit thicker, a little bit longer lasting. They're going to stain your lips a little bit more, which is going to give you that longevity throughout the day, and they don't bleed. For me, some people might experience with these, but unfortunately these from L'Oreal do bleed on me. You definitely have to use a lip liner, maybe one of those clear guys that you put around the perimeter to make sure you don't experience that bleeding. But because this is such a glossy kind of lacquer type formula, but they're also so pigmented, you especially notice the bleeding with these guys. Like even right now, I didn't line my lips because I knew I was only going to have it on as I filmed this video here late at night. Even after sitting here for what, 15-20 minutes, I can just see it creeping into my fine lines around my lips. So just something you want to be aware of. If you already line your lips anyway, probably not a huge hurdle to overcome if you want to experiment with some fun colors, or if you just want to experiment with a new finish. These high shine, high pigment lacquer products, it's a good way to experiment with that, but I definitely want to flag the bleeding because it's pretty prominent and it happens pretty quickly. And that's it. That's everything I've picked up. Kind of. So it's everything I've picked up and tried so far. More is to come. You can look forward to that later. I might try and space them out so it's not like overwhelming with new products and new stuff here on the channel. But that's it for this video. I'd love to hear which of these products you've tried, which of the new products coming out you'd like me to review or talk about, because I might not have picked it up yet. And so if we're doing these videos now, we might as well get everything in that people want to hear about. Definitely let me know that in the comments below. Besides that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye, guys.